Dr. Juice here. Today we're going to be talking about the uniqueness of things. Uniqueness of what exactly? Well, that's the uniqueness of art versus the uniqueness of engineering or business or products or whatever. But with art, there's some very interesting, unique parts of it. You can create something special that more so than you can in other disciplines. And you can see that with YouTube channels as well. Channels kind of have like a unique fingerprint to them that if that channel just didn't exist, if it never came into being, it's likely that you wouldn't see that channel in the very similar form to what it was. So let's dive into this a bit more. By the end of this video, you'll understand. So I mentioned the uniqueness of YouTube channels. What's another unique thing? Art. So one type of art I want to talk about is video game art, or rather video games as art. I am a gamer. I like to talk about gaming on this channel. And there's a type of art. You don't need to know gaming to understand this example, but I'll tell you this example, and that is from software games. These are games such as Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and some others. You may have heard of them, but they're kind of like a sword and shield game or this medieval fighting monsters game kind of. You fight things, you die a lot. You go around, run around this world, and this game has kind of a unique fingerprint. These types of games, they have a unique fingerprint when it comes to the atmosphere of their worlds. There tends to be like kind of a dark atmosphere to their worlds that people kind of get sucked into. That's one reason why they're so popular. And there's a unique storytelling aspect to the series. Normal books of fiction or other video games present their characters and stories. So normally things are presented such as kind of like you're just a viewer sitting in a seat and they take you on this journey and you just sit back and they tell you the story sequentially from beginning to end, and the characters are all laid out for you. You don't really need to do any research or digging to figure out what's going on. It's all presented nicely to you. But for these games, you'd think this would be unappealing, and to many people, it actually is unappealing, and that is you. It's not presented to you in a very easy way. So if it presented to you in a very difficult way, where you have to really spend a lot of effort to understand the story in these games. You have to spend hours going about the world, picking up items, reading about the items. You know, certain characters are in places you wouldn't expect them to be. Maybe you have to think about it some to make connections in your head about where this character is going to end up and why this character is connected to this character, why they have this appearance, why they took these actions, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, you have to put in a lot of work and you have to make these connections in your own mind to try to piece all the story together. And some people might say there's like some ambiguity in this type of story writing as well. And some people might say it's just not well designed or well laid out. It's just not very skillfully done. But if you read about the actual director of the game, the way they made these stories, or one type of inspiration for these stories, is that when they were a kid, they would read books in English, even though the director he's Japanese, but he knew like a very small amount of English, and he couldn't really read these books very well at all. He could only get very small pieces of information, and he kind of had to fill in the rest of the pieces of the book in his mind. And he built up these complex stories in his mind, piecing everything together. And he brought that to the games that he made. And that is this very unique fingerprint. And I think if that director had not made these games, I don't think you're going to see exactly that type of game from other developers. Like, this is a unique fingerprint. A friend artist of mine, a musical artist friend of mine, he kind of said something succinctly, a nice quote about this, which is that art really captures the human experience and emotion into something. In this case, that's a game, but it can also be anything else, like a piece of painting or a piece of musical piece. And this type of unique expression that you get from artistic pieces, it's like a fingerprint, and it's hard to get in other things. In engineering, as an example, you can create like a keyboard or something like something useful or a mop or whatever, and you're not it's serving some type of purpose, right? And it doesn't really get this unique expression that these artistic pieces do. And that is one reason why art is so valuable. It's an exploration of the human experience. I hope you learned something. Maybe you appreciate art more I hope that I didn't make you appreciate it less with this long monologue. All right, that's it. See ya.